think it's about 3 or a little after. And I am getting ready to go to the doctor for all my blood work. I'm sweating up a storm because I just packaged everything that had to go out today. And I had to wrestle with it for a while. And I forgot today was Columbus Day, so everything's going out first thing in the morning. Holidays. You forget about holidays when you're sick all the time. They just don't register anymore. They just don't. Sad to say, but they just don't register anymore. So I forgot about the holidays. So everybody that was anticipating a package from David or myself, it will be mailed first thing in the morning. And because I forgot about the stupid holiday. Because that's how my brain works. Because when you're disabled, you just don't remember holidays. Hi, Music. Hi, Marty. How are you doing? Yeah, I know. That really put a kink in my shipping because we normally ship on Mondays and Fridays. And I was like, oh, wow. Well, this is going to completely throw my week off now. So I was like, gee, thanks. But I thought I'd check in after I broke a sweat doing all the boxing. I thought I'd check in for a minute because I don't know when I will be back from the doctor because I have a very late appointment. And I am anticipating both blood work and x-rays because they always double check me, which, I mean, yeah, I'm thankful for. I have a great doctor I'm thankful for. But he's on vacation, so he said, well, why don't you just come in and get all your lab stuff done that needs to be done, and then I'll see you when I get back. And I was like, okay. So he's on vacation this week, but I'm going to go in and get all my lab work done and all of my x-rays done and just get that out of the way. I'm also trying to do my nails really quick so they won't look like absolute garbage because my nails look like absolute garbage right now. And I just put on these little $3 stickers. Don't do anything special. Don't think I'm getting uppity. I can afford the $2.99 Lillian Fox. And that's about as far as I roll. So that's what I do. But yeah, so I've not done anything other than get the quilt laundered. And yeah, stuff. I've got the quilt laundered, and I'm burning up right now. I've got the quilt laundered, and remind me not to package on a warm day. I've got the quilt laundered, and I've got all the packages done, and I've got another dream catcher started for next Sunday to give away possibly, since we didn't have a whole lot in this Sunday, and then it went local, and so I don't have to ship it. So I looked at David and I said, well, I'll make another because I didn't have to ship that one, so I can make another and ship it. So I'm going to make another and ship it. So hopefully next Sunday when we do our couples chat, I will have the other one done. Because we have the vendor sale Saturday if I feel like going. And that way you all have another day. Boy, Marty, it is warm here in Tennessee, too. I refuse to turn my air conditioner on because it's just pushing 70. But it's at that time of the day where the sun comes directly in my kitchen. And it is melting this fat woman down, I tell you what. Oh, thank you. It falls off my shoulders all the time, and I have to wear a tank top underneath it. But I think it's cute. I can get away with it a couple times a year. It reminds me of that big pleated angel shirt that Freddie Mercury wore in the 70s. That's why I bought it. Everybody knows my Queen obsession. Yeah, we'll be ready for tomorrow. I normally pack everything the night before, but last night I was so tired. David said, just do it in the morning. And we got up this morning, and I called to talk to Shelly at my local post office, and I was going to ask her what size boxes would be like oversized, because I'm still learning all of this. And it was like, we are closed today in observance of Columbus Day. And I was like, oh, I forgot. So I felt really stupid for about 5 minutes and then just kind of went on with my bad self. So we'll get them out first thing in the morning. It probably honestly will not slow them down getting where they're going. But it irritates me because I do a Monday, Friday ship schedule. So that really got me and David off kilter. And with David's work schedule, our schedule we keep at home is very important. because David's work schedule sucks. So if anything changes, it really throws a kink in his week lots of times. So we try to not ever change things around, because the poor man does not get to rest a whole lot. But we'll get him out first thing in the morning. It's not a big deal. And I always do like 3-day shipping, so I always try to get them there as quick as possible anyway. So it's not a big deal. Everybody will still get their package. I just am a creature of habit. And when you mess up my habit, it messes up my whole day. But that's okay. I got some more time at home and got some other stuff done. I did get the huge, ginormous quilt laundered. I don't see any stains or anything on it. It does have the yellow and white fleece backing, as I told you all, because I bought two bolts when I bought them, and one bolt was not big enough because you know how I like to make ginormous quilts. So it's yellow and white, more yellow than white. But it's that really warm fleece backing. So David has talked me into listing it. I'm going to list it. I'm not going to put it for over $150 because it does have the fleece backing. And it doesn't have the fabric backing. It's got the fleece backing. So I'm not going to put it over $150. So, and it will have free shipping. Every time I sell a quilt, I do free shipping. You miss Tennessee. Well, you don't miss it right now because the ragweed is driving me nuts. I got out to try to pick some goldenrod to put up in tincture the other day and sneezed my head off. I mean, it was bad. And I don't remember having allergies. I worked in hay my whole life and never sneezed. And then I got beyond 40 and I sneeze at everything now. And I don't know, it's like, Jesus, what are you doing to me? Because I used to never have had any allergies, never sneeze, never nothing. And now the wind blows funny anytime of a change in seasons or anytime anything's, blooming. I go crazy. And I never did that before. So I guess as you just get older, you get more sensitive. I actually think it's probably all the crap that the government puts in our food. That's just my opinion. YouTube, don't flag me for an opinion. YouTube will, I'm sure. I know it's Columbus Day. I'm glad I saved you the trip too. I always call. I have a very friendly little girl that works at my local one that has no steps. It has no steps into the building. I love that one. David likes the one with steps. I don't. So I called her to see what my dimensions could be without going oversized, and it was closed. And I was like, man, I am so glad I called instead of just rolling in and asking, because there I'd be in, man or no wet hen. Because I would have been. Because it takes a lot to, it's an event to get me out of the house. Like this doctor trip, I prepare for it starting the day before. I rest a lot, stay off my feet, and really kind of pump myself up to say, I can do this. Now, most of the time, they normally schedule stuff in the morning so that David can drive me in case I'm having any issues and they don't have to worry about me. But because they have someone on vacation this week, they couldn't do that. So I was at their mercy for whenever they needed me to come in. And it just so happened that they needed me to come in the evening. And so I'm going in the evening, which is not my normal routine. I normally am a early morning blood work person. Just thank the Lord we didn't have to do any fasting blood work, because there ain't no way I could have not eaten till 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I mean, not me. I got up this morning and I did. The only thing I've ever done than besides the package stuff and get that big quilt laundered was I made David's big bear roast today so he could take it for dinner tonight and I could have it later. Whatever he did not take to dinner, which I haven't seen how much he left me. Probably not a lot. But whatever he didn't take for dinner will be my dinner. And so I was up cooking bear at the butt crack of dawn this morning. So if you ever need to tell a friend you have a strange friend, just tell them I have a strange friend in Tennessee that was up cooking bear roast at 6 a.m. this morning. I about beat the sun up this morning. I really did. When the time changes back, I know I'll be waking up at 5 a.m. Every time the sun comes through the window, I wake up. And I'm going to hate that because I like my sleep. And I will not get any when the time changes because I will wake up with the sun. The bear's pretty good. Some cuts of it taste a lot like beefsteak, I'm not going to lie. And then some of it, trying to find the right size for my thumbnail, some of it tastes really greasy. Some of it can be really greasy. Now, I'll tell you how I did this. I boiled it yesterday and set it up. Get off of me. I've got something stuck on me. I boiled it yesterday and set it up. And then today, this morning, I put it in my Instant Pot because it was already boiled and tenderized. I put it in my Instant Pot with peppers and onions and potatoes, and put that little cage thingy under it so it would not sit all the way on the bottom so that the grease and stuff could drip. And I slow cooked it for a couple hours, and then I pressure cooked that puppy for about 12 minutes. And let me tell you what, it was falling apart. I did a good job. Now, sometimes I can butcher bear roast because it just depends sometimes on the bear and the cut of meat and how creative I get that day. But now I did a really good job on this one. But those little tenderloin medallions that David had cooked the other day were just a little tough. So I thought, well, by golly, I'm going to boil you. And then I will marinate you again. You got marinated twice. I'll marinate you again and put you in the Instapot and double whammy you. And I did. And he turned out really good. He smelled really good. And the grease and stuff, after I pull the roast out, I dip the veggies in the grease and just saute them for a minute in the Instapot because I turn my Instapot on saute. And saute it for just a few minutes. And then I pull those out and let them drain because I don't want to give David that much fat. And he was slurping it up for lunch and packing dinner, so it must have been good. After I taste it later, I'll let you all know my vote on it. I am not a huge bear fan. Like, I'll eat it. I don't mind to eat it. Depends on who cooks it sometimes, whether I like it or not. But I don't mind to eat it. But I will say the best taste of meat you can eat is elk. If you have elk burger that's just a little bit of elk mixed with just a little bit of beef or pork fat and ground up, I'll fight you over an elk burger. I will fight you over an elk burger, and I will win because I want that elk burger. Those things are so good. The meat has just such a pure, lean taste to it. It's so good. And you would think it would be a lot like beef, because of the body make and stuff like that, but it's not. It's not because of their diet. It's different. And I love elk. Like, I love elk. So I'll fight you over an elk burger or an elk steak. Yeah, you have to really get creative to get that grease out of that bear. So I always do I always have a little elevated spot. Even if I roast it in a roasting pan in the oven, I will put one of those little elevated trays under it, like one of those vegetable baskets or something that you use on the grill. I'll put one of those underneath it and raise it up so that it drains, and it cooks in some of its fat, but it drains most of it off. And then if I want to stir my veggies in it for a minute and flavor them, I can, and then I'll drain them. So, because I have to watch David has high cholesterol, and he's had high cholesterol since he was young, and the man ain't nothing but muscle. I know he looks chunky, but if you thump his belly, it's like a watermelon. The man ain't got no fat on him. He has no fat on. If you've noticed when he puts his arms out, he has no bat wings like I do, where he's busted wood his whole life and chopped wood his whole life. He ain't nothing but muscle. He's just barrel chested and barrel made, I guess is the way you might describe it. But he's always had high cholesterol, but it runs in his family really bad. And we got it under control there for a while. And then when I got sick with mastoiditis a year and a half ago and was down for like most of the year, he ate stuff he shouldn't have ate because I was cooking, but not as much. And he was not making the best decisions. And so it got a little out of hand again. And now we're getting it back under control. Okay, I got my nails did, so I won't look completely horrible when I go out. I hate going places and looking atrocious, which is normally how I look most of the time. I will go to Walmart and looking homeless if I need something. I don't care. But if I'm actually trying to go somewhere, I try to look nice. So, but these are just those little $2.50 Lillian Fox nails. They're up $2.50 to $2.99. I think the most expensive they get is $4.99. and they'll last on me 10, 12 days, sometimes if not more. And I might put a top glaze coat over them just to kind of give them more incentive to hang on, but they stick really well. They stick just as good as the Color Street, and the Color Street are expensive. I only buy the Color Street if I'm going for holiday looks. Hi, Fang. You listening as you work? Oh, bless your heart. I wonder sometimes if y'all ever listen to me and other people hear my voice and they go, what in the world are you listening to? Yeah, you can tell an animal that's had a good life and has been treated well and has been fed well and maintained well. The fat disbursement is better, the marbling's better. I mean, the organs look better. I mean, if you ever butcher your own meat, you can tell the difference between an unhappy animal and a happy animal. And a lot of people are like, oh my God, I can't believe you just said that. But I mean, you can. And I would rather, like, of course, my family did, we had a meat processing shop for a long time. So I've taken everything apart that people eat. And you can tell a healthy animal from an unhealthy animal. And lots of times we would open up an animal and we would call people immediately and be like, come back. There's a sign of this here. There's a sign of this here. We would not eat this animal if we were you. We understand that you may need meat. Put your name on our wall. And as people donate meat, we will call you. And you just have to pay the processing fee. So if somebody like tagged out and they had 3 extra deer that they were not going to need in their freezer, they would donate them. And then we would call families on the list that needed meat and donate. You know, all they had to do was pay the processing fee and they would get their meat. And heard a woman on Psycho. Was it allegedly innocent? Allegedly innocent sometimes sounds like me. Now I twang way more than her when I get mad, but we say a lot of the same things. Oh, my nails again? Yeah, these are let me get this off the screen. These are just the I forget what pattern they were. That they're turquoise with a little bit of filigree. So they're all kind of different. But I mean, for what I do, like my hands, my hands kind of get into everything through the week. So when I worked in the court system, boy, I've got hangnails. When I worked in the court system, I kept them actually done. I kept gel nails on constantly and had them done every 2 weeks like clockwork. And my nail lady was one of my best friends. But that was an expense when I'm no longer working that I'm not going to maintain. And I don't go into court and I don't go into parole revocation hearings anymore. And I don't have to look like a snooty person anymore. So I don't get those done. I do miss them because they were very pretty. And once you get used to nails, they come in very handy. Like once I was without them, I was like, how do I function now? But now that I've gone without them so long, it's hard for me to get used to them again. I can do my own nails. And matter of fact, I put a set on before the pumpkin festival and could not do anything with them, and I took them off. And David made fun of me. But I could actually do the gel build-up nails. But I got so frustrated in the 48 hours I had them on, I took them off. So David laughed at me. They were pretty. I made them white. I put little birds on them because I love birds. As y'all can see, I love my birds. And I took them off. I couldn't do a thing. And I thought, I'm not going to be able to function with these. They're going to have to leave me. I was like, there's no way I can function with these all day. So I had to use my little stick here and pry them off of my fingers. And then I did just another sticker, color wrap sticker on them for the pumpkin festival, because I was not about to wrestle those nails all day long. But I never kept like super long nails because I had to type a lot, but I kept my nails done and I was manicured and pretty and had the total Karen haircut and everything. I mean, it was just, they're not press on, they're just those little little thin paint stickers that go on and stick like a mother. They just go on and they stick and they stay there for about 7 to 12 days. Look at my hangnails. Look at my lovely hangnails. I have really short nails. I have the dip system too, but I don't do that a whole lot just because I'm impatient. I don't like to sit there. And I tell you, one place you will never hear me though is on Psychobabble. I block that man, and sometimes he'll still show up in my recommended, and I'm like, YouTube, stop it. But I cannot stand that man. I mean, if he was a weed, he'd be like poison sumac. He is not a nice person. And I've listened and I've tried, but he uses such shame, like shaming and guilt and harassment on people. And it's like, dude, you can reach people in such a better way. There's no reason, you know, if I want to meet somebody, the last thing I want to do is meet you and just pound you into a piece of crap. And that's kind of what he does to everybody. And I'm like, why do people go back and visit him so often if all he does is treat them poorly? But a lot of people in this day and age, they think negativity is a norm. And so if you offer kindness, they'll attack you because they think it's weakness. But if you offer hate, you're normal and they accept it. If that doesn't tell you where humanity's going, you know, nothing will. So we really need to normalize kindness again. She had long hair and a ponytail. I think Allegedly Innocent has like blonde hair. She's older, so it's getting a little bit of a lighter blonde in it. And she is actually, I think, a psychologist. My aunt's a psychologist. I just got my master's in psychology. So I work under licensed individuals. So I was a couple of years away from my license, but I was trying to do forensic psychology in the prison system, which I didn't need a license for. But had I known my body was going to crap out, I would have gone the licensure route. So hindsight's 2020. Crafts are hard with long nails, except for the glue gun. If you get the really good nails that don't melt, though they're great to hold stuff in place while the glue dries, because I burn the snot out of my fingers with my glue gun. Yeah, Rachel. Yeah, when you get your deer, you can tell exactly if you've got a good meal and a good healthy deer or not. And I always worry about people that don't gut their own animals, and I'm like, that's very important. I want to see the kidney, the kidney, the liver, the heart, and the lungs. Those are things that I absolutely want to see in whatever I'm going to eat, because that tells me how healthy the animal is. And if some of those things are healthy, I'm going to eat them. So, but I want to know how healthy my animal was. So, oh, you're fine, Rachel. I channel surf in my brain so well. It's fine. I channel surf, like I click at least 50 channels going. I should get my glasses should come back in the next day or two. I'm so excited. I even bought 4 new books last week. And I've already got several in rotation that I've got to finish, but I bought 4 new books with the hope that now I'll be able to see well enough to read without giving myself huge cluster migraines again and a lot of pain, a lot of headaches and a lot of pain. So in anticipation of my glasses working, I got like 4 new books last week. And one of them was like a progressive study on depression, and there were a couple of like psych stuff. And then 2 were just like generational historical novels. I love those. Like those writers that will follow a family through like 4 generations to tell a whole story. I love those books. One of my favorite books I've ever read is called Glory and the Lightning. And I can't remember what, I think it's by Taylor, Christopher Taylor, or I can't remember. I think it's, anyway, the name of it is Glory and the Lightning. And it's about a little girl who is a servant raised by servants, and she falls in love with a very rich man, just very happenstance. And then many years later finds out that she is actually, you know, an aristocrat herself. And I'm at the point of the book to where I'm finding out if they're like closely related or not. Of course, back in the day, they didn't care. Like, you were second cousins, you were free game. Weird. Even for Appalachia, that's weird. Don't do that. But I'm at that point in the book, and it's so small because it's one of those old books. Somebody's shooting their sighting their rifle in. It's one of those old books, so the print is super tiny. And I'm like, I can't read it anymore because it hurts me so bad. So I'm excited to finish that book and see what the rest of it is. Well, they're sighting their rifle in, or something was in their yard, because that was 2 shots. See if we hear 3. No, 2's enough. Okay. And we got a lot of farmland right behind us across the river. And so it didn't freak me out to hear bullets. Like, I was the only one at the police academy. Here's a funny story, and I'll let you go. They took us outside, and they were like, oh, we're going to give you a break. During this 4-hour during this 4-hour lecture class, they were like, we're going to take you outside and give you a break. And we were like, you've not given us a break in like 2-3 weeks. What's up with you? So everybody else was like, well, we're going to let you out in the courtyard under the trees to enjoy the pretty day. 4, he's sighting his gun in because the pattern of the in-between shots is he's bore sighting his gun in. It's deer season right here. It's normal. And so we're all standing under the trees out in the courtyard, kind of bored because we were prepared to sit through this huge lecture class, and we would actually really just rather get it done because then we had to go to self-defense class, then we had dinner, and it was just a whole day. And what they didn't tell us was they were fixing to allow the other guys that were on week 6 to fire up at the range, and it sounds like you're being attacked when everybody starts firing and they have so many hundreds of rounds they have to discharge in so many minutes. And 5 must be Farmer Smith sighting his rifle in. And so we're all standing there, and I'm leaning up against a tree, and all of a sudden you hear all these pistols start going off, you know. And I think at that time, I actually think they got us like Glock. For some reason, they had done the 40s. I don't understand the reasoning behind. Anyway, I could fuss on that all day. But anyway, it just sounds like somebody, you know, a whole army just let go. And everyone, of course, I was the only one from like East Tennessee. Everybody else was from like Nashville and Memphis, and everybody else hit the floor. 6. And I just kind of looked around, and the professor looked at me. He said, you didn't even flinch. I said, that was a handgun, and it's far enough away. It ain't going to get me. I said, you got to be real lucky. Jesus hates you, or dead shot aim for a handgun to reach this far. 7. I said, but it ain't going to get me. I said, it's too far away. And he just laughed. And he goes, how'd you know that? And I said, that sounds like a 9mm. I said, maybe a 45 for it. I said, it's not going to get this far. And he goes, where are you from? And I said, Podunk. He goes, okay. I said, definitely handgun, not going to get this far. I said, no. I said, you'd have to have a sniper rifle with a scope to get me out here in the courtyard. He just kind of cackled. He goes, y'all can get up now. And everybody got up. And he was like, I'm proud of you. You didn't even flinch. And I said, no. So everybody else dropped and hit the floor. And I was like, I'm not going to mess up my clothes for something that's way over there, and I've got 7 brick buildings between me and the range. Duh. And to be quite honest, if I did hear somebody close to me with a weapon, I would try to find a block, and then I would try to see who is shooting at me. Because I'd rather see and know where they're pointing the weapon than run and think they're pointing it at me. I didn't like to wear my bulletproof vest, but I did. Because if you got out in the field and you were killed and you didn't have on your bulletproof vest, your insurance wouldn't pay out. So I hated putting that stupid thing on. I hated it. Number one, it was always 100 degrees outside when I had to put the darn thing on. But I was doing a home visit one day with the manager, and I was fussing and 9. Okay, you really need to like check and see if you're lined up yet, because that's just, you're wasting ammo now, dude. Wasting ammo. Okay, so then I had like my mag light stuck in here because it's a weapon you use, and I had my baton or my asp stuck in the other side. I stick it in my little Velcro slides, 10. And I was sweating, and I said, man, I wish we didn't have to wear these stupid things. And he said, why do you hate your vest so much? I said, do you not understand the logic? He goes, no, because if you don't have it on, your insurance doesn't pay out. I said, I understand that. I said, but if you have this on, living in the country where most people have rifles, you're not going to see who's going to shoot you. And they're going to do a long haul shot. When they see you have on a vest, they're just going to do a headshot. I would much rather take a body shot because I got more fat and more protection and more likelihood of surviving. I said, if they see this big old vest on me, they're just going to shoot me in the head. He goes, you actually think like that? I said, that's what I would do if I wanted to take somebody out and had on body armor. And he's like, you scare me. And I'm like, wouldn't you? And he's like, I've never thought about something like that. I'm like, working in this field, don't you think you should think about things like that? But so I hated that bulletproof vest because it just made me think that they were just going to do a headshot. And so I was like, well, please, if anybody ever decides to take me out, can you just aim really good? Because I don't want you to just like leave me a vegetable for the rest of the life. Aim really good. And my boss thought it was morbid, but I was like, that's just reality. It's just reality. Oh, well, Howard, bless your heart. Hope you're probably doing a lot better than all of us out here wondering which the way the cadaver in chief is going to take our nation. I'm sorry, I can be rude. I'm not happy with any world leader right now. I think they've all got something wedged up their hiney that's making them all a little aggravated. I think they all need to go see the proctologist. I would not be good at like a diplomatic meeting. Although I'd probably make them think quite a bit. They would not enjoy the way I made them think. But yeah, he must be. I think he's done now. 10. I would not have fired that many rounds. I mean, that's a whole slot of ammo. And if you're firing at what, 223 or above, that's a lot of money. But he's probably just sitting in his deer rifle. We don't freak out when we hear gunfire around here because we all know the avenues. We always shoot toward the mountains, to the bluffs, not toward homes, and we know where everybody lives. And we've got enough space between us and enough trees between us and enough natural hillsides that we kind of have our own little places to shoot. And some people actually will dig out a dugout to shoot down into just to be extra safe. And then like the whole neighborhood will go over to that person's house to fire in, to shoot their weapons inside in their weapons. So Lane's actually got to sight in his rifle, but we go out, we buy a lease option on like 3,500 acres out in the south end of the county. So they always go out there and sight them in. There's a little place at the front where you can sight in your weapons. And then when you hunt, you go miles back in there. So it doesn't bother anybody. Get average. I want to respect man, but to respect somebody, I've got to see that they at least care for me, that they at least think about someone else besides themselves. And to be quite honest, I'm just not sure he can think at all. So I know he certainly isn't thinking about me. So I'm just like, and honestly, it's not me just being a pompous butthole on the internet. If I would have made him, I'd be like, sorry, Jill, I'm not shaking your hand. I'm sorry. No, I told Jesus I would never have anything to do with the devil or any of his minions. So sorry, I can't shake your hand. And I'd say it straight to his face. I do not think he's a good man. I don't think he's ever been a good man. I don't think he raised good children. I think the one good child he did raise was taken from him, and it just amplified his meanness. I think he pushed his children into a lot of their trauma and behaviors that they exhibit now because of poor parenting and probably some trauma. And I just don't respect the man. Just at all. I don't respect many politicians. By the time they get to that level of power, they're all crooked as a dog's hind leg. So I don't need people to pee on my leg and tell me it's raining. I can figure that out on my own. So politicians are not my favorite people. I don't really assign. Thinking about lunch. I don't decide. I don't really assign myself to any group. I am. Who is the person that fears the Lord the most is going to make the best decisions for humanity and knows what a repercussion is. Those are people that can handle a little bit of power, but not a lot. We need more term limits. We need more control. We need more boundaries for Congress members and stock claims and options. When you make $200,000 a year and you're worth $119 million, hello. I mean, I'm not smart, but you don't need to treat me just because I'm from Appalachia like I'm Nell out here going tee-hee in the wind. I can figure out when you're doing something crooked. If you're making $200,000 a year and you turn into $119 million, okay, you're not a magician. You're crooked. I mean, there's just not a lot of thought there, we just all know that. When my kids would do something stupid when they were little, I would look at them like Haley was all the time. She would have a blank spot. She's a super smart young lady, but she would have blank spots a lot. And I would look at her and she would still be contemplating deep in her mind, looking at me, but contemplating. And I would go, tee hee in the wind, tee hee in the wind. And she'd be like, Mom. And then she would think harder and get it. I picked on my children. I had to prepare them for the real world. I said, if you can't handle your mama, you don't need to meet anybody out there in the real world. I said, because there are heifers bigger and meaner than me everywhere you go. So, but my kids have done, they've both thanked me for raising them like I did, because they've handled people very well. Amen, Rachel. We got hidey holes and food and places and water, and yeah, we know how to fall off the radar, and you never find us. So I've only got like 3 places in my goddamn county I can get cell service. So good luck finding me. I know exactly where I can hide. We've got so many caves. We've got so many cave systems and stuff. I mean, heck, this is where that one dude hid out from the FBI for like months. What was his name? Jimmy. I want to say Jimmy Dean, but that sausage. Was it Jimmy Dean or Jimmy Anderson? Anyway, we had a guy hiding in Blowing Cave down in Pall Mall for like 3 months from the feds. And for years, you could still go down there, and there was like old pork and bean cans and stuff where he had lived. And finally, somebody cleaned all that up, put it in like a little museum. And then they actually blocked the cave off because people would still go in there caving. They blocked it off, and now it's like a museum of where he. And I was like, why didn't you leave the cave open? I mean, not just because people go in and out, but because there are other people that if they get lost, that may be a way they have to come out. We've got Blowing Cave where you can stand literally 100 foot from it at the road and still feel the wind coming out of Blowing Cave. And so we've got a lot of neat places. If I could get mobile enough one day to have enough energy to be mobile and grab Kim, because I normally don't go anywhere very much alone in case my legs go bad. But if I could get Kim to get mobile with me one day, then I would love to go and show you in Pall Mall, the grist mill, Sergeant Alvin C. York's grave, the old church he went to, the old Bible school and Bible study and schoolhouse, and then Blowing Cave. There's a whole bunch of stuff just 10 minutes from my house that is really remarkable. You just have to slide off the hill to get there. And I'd love to show it all to you, and it's the prettiest time of year. So if I still am feeling good in the next couple of weeks, maybe I can coerce Kim into running around and us taking some video of some of these places in this community, because they're really neat. If you go back in my videos, there is a video where we go to the grave of Catalogston. And if you've ever read of Catalogston, it's a very strange, sinister, odd story from this area. It was back when everyone was trying to say people were witches and all that stuff. And I really think they sentenced an innocent man to death. And he told them that he did not do the murders and that they were pinning it on the wrong man. And that he said it will, he was like, you'll have to hang me 3 times before you kill me, because you're killing an innocent man. I will not die till the 3rd time. And if you succeed, rains will come forth as never been seen. And in so many years, venomous snakes will present from my grave. And we were like, okay, Cal, you're not helping the witch story, so shh. But they hung him. It took him 3 times. First time the limb broke. The second time he just didn't die. And then the 3rd time, I guess they got enough gravity and inertia going on that they did break his neck. That sounds so mean to say that, just so matter-of-factly. But it happened way long ago. Well, his grave was behind my elementary school in the old graveyard. And so we were always terrified to go over by the woods, because his grave was one of those closest to the edge of the woods, because it was one of the oldest ones. And so I grew up knowing about this man. And sure enough, after they killed him, after they hung him, torrential downpours, all the rivers flooded worse than we've ever seen here, even since then. And in 100 years after his death, They had to bring in biologists from the University of Tennessee to start taking away the poisonous snakes, copperheads, rattlesnakes, timber rattlers, that just started presenting in that little patch of woods so close to elementary school. They had to go in and actually capture them. They never could find a den. They didn't know where they were coming from, but they captured hundreds and relocated them to Big South Fork. And so me and a friend actually, because his grave was just like 4 miles from my house. So me and a friend went last spring on one of my better days and went through the cemetery because it's old. And I showed you Cal Logston's grave. And I really think they killed an innocent man. And the story is very strange. I used to have a really old history book that had the original story in it. My family had it. I don't know where it is now. I think my uncle may have it. But very neat video. You get to see his grave. They actually spelled his name wrong on his tombstone. So disrespectful. Like, they need to fix that. They spelled it wrong. And his grave is one of the dirtier ones there. So if I had a day where I felt good, I would take that mixture to clean gravestones. I would take it up there and clean some of those, because a lot of them are super old, hundreds of years old, and they don't have anyone to maintain them. And then there's one that the husband built like a tribute stone to his wife. And I forget what her name was. It was so cute, though. I literally hugged her tombstone because it was so cute. My friend thought I was crazy. I live about 10 minutes from Rugby, which is like one of the most historic one of the most haunted areas in Tennessee. I hate that place. It's beautiful, but no, I don't even like to drive through it. I was so glad when they made the road that went around it instead of having to corkscrew through it, because I hated going through that every morning. Got the heebie-jeebies, hated coming back through it. I used to have to drive that every day for work. Hated it. I don't like Rugby. Like, I will go on like community days when they have craft vendors and stuff, but I don't like Rugby. It gives me the heebie-jeebies. I just know something's not right when I'm there. I pick up on all the, nope, this is not good land. Don't be here. And like, everybody that settled that died. And like, we really don't know what happened. Now a bunch of rich artsy-fartsy people moved in, and they maintain it as historical places, and they have their wine and cheese, and they sip and ha 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 ha, and and then we have come through talking like this, and they look down on us, but I'm like, they settled here, you settled here, you need to be nice to us. But they had a really good inn, a bed and breakfast just before Rugby that was Gray Gables. Yeah, Gray Gables. I wanted to say Green Gables, but that's Anne of Green Gables. It's Gray Gables. And they used to do dinners. And we would take the kids and have dinner there. And it was like an old antebellum home, decorated. It was very nice. We would take the kids every once in a while and have dinner there. And I like that. But once you turn that corner and go into Rugby, no, Lilydale Cemetery's got a lot of old graves. I wouldn't care to go there and sew that to ends, but I ain't going alone. There's too many black bear in Rugby too. And you have to walk everywhere you go in Rugby. So I could park at the cemetery, but I can't park anywhere else that I really want to walk except for the church. And there are too many black bear in Rugby for me to want to get out and slowly walk, because I would be the best, most slow prey ever. So I'm not going to do that. But I may take you to the cemetery because it's got a lot of old graves. But we still don't know what happened. Their library's still there. All the books are untouched. They won't let you touch them even if you put on gloves, and that irritates me to death because I want to read the daggum books. Like, I want to open and see if people have put notes and stuff in the books. You can't touch them. Only the librarian can touch them. I mean, I'll put on gloves. I want to touch the book. But they will not allow anyone to touch them. They do have tour guides and stuff, and when I was just out of high school, I wanted to sign up to be a tour guide because it was a very interesting historical place, and I wanted to work that summer and do tour guides. You speak with too much of the local dialect to do tour guides. But I'm local. People are coming here to see local things, the local flavor. They get a fried bologna sandwich up the road and like leave 5-star reviews. They love the people. Don't you think I would be a bigger draw than a deterrent? Well, we just want our tour guides to speak proper English. Proper English, my butt. I was raised in America. I speak proper English. I mean, and I had cut it down that day. I was being very appropriate that day. And I was like, well, I ain't never asking for a job here again. So then after I got out of college, they had a community planner position come open. And they had known me from where I had climbed up the ranks and gone to school and made a name for myself and worked with AmeriCorps a lot. And they were like, oh, well, we would love to have you. I said, I'm sorry, I don't speak proper English. So I didn't take that job. I know if you went to a place, you want to have a local guide that lives there and knows the whole place. So you can mill around and do it yourself, but you can pay to get like the whole experience. And I've always thought that people would prefer a local guide that lived just spitting distance up the road, but not if you can't pronounce charcuterie board, you can't work there. So I gave up. But I just always thought it would be so much more fun with someone that knew the history, knew the land, and knew the problems that had been part of that area. But apparently not. So, well, I'm fixing to have to leave to go to my blood work appointment. I do not know how long I'll be there because I'm going to do x-rays too, so it may be a while. You can listen to me for hours. I've had some people say, why don't you go and read some of those Appalachia country books? Thought about it. I literally have thought about, yeah, if I had a good day, I could read and be appropriate. I can, like in court, I completely cut my accent out. I was very appropriate. I did not twang very much at all. I was, yes, Your Honor, no, Your Honor, this offender has been a minor nuisance. He's been quite delinquent per his supervision standards. We need to make sure that he is not going to be a risk to the community. We need to place him in custody and let him serve his sentence. He should not deserve another paper option. And so I was, I could cut it. But one day in court, one of the guys, it was like 7:45 at night. I'd been there for like 14 hours that day. And my judge, bless his heart, who is now retired, he was about done for the day too. He was a sweetheart. And he was sitting up above us, and I was right in front of, and I was sitting right next to my little probationer that I'd had. And I tried for months. I tried this boy because he wasn't really dangerous. He was just stupid. There's a difference, actually. And so the judge remanded him to serve. And there's my timer. And the judge said, do you have anything you want to say to your probation officer? He's like, Miss Elizabeth, you tried so hard, and I appreciate you tried so hard. And the judge kind of looked at me and nodded as if to say, do you want to respond? And I said, listen, I'll try all day long, but this here, he's one heifer never made it to the gate. And then I went, sorry, Your Honor, I forgot where I was. I apologize. And the stenographer, Barb, was over there going, and I was like, I wonder how you typed that one up, Barb. So he always said he could write a book of Liz-isms. He's like, we should just have Barb go back through and pull all of your stuff out and just do a book. He actually called to check on me the other day. My criminal court judge called to check on me the other day. I may check in and see if they need Appalachia voices. I do have the dying dialect, so now I'm fancy schmancy because it's the dying dialect. My alarm's going off. So I may check into that because they may have a book that they actually need my voice for. So I may look into that. It gives me an idea. Definitely would give me something to do. And if I have glasses and can actually read, I would enjoy it. So, okay, that's my alarm. Blood work x-ray time. I may not see you for the rest of the day. I don't know how long I'm going to be gone. So this was your meetup ingredient and howdy and what's going on today. But I'm feeling good, out of flare. So let's go and see how my body's maintaining all the enzyme levels and stuff like that. And then I will definitely see you tomorrow, but probably not the rest of the day. So thanks for hanging in, Marty. I appreciate you. And don't forget, next Sunday, we're going to do another dream catcher, possibly 2 giveaways. So make sure that you line up. We're going to probably do it around 3:30, 3:30 again. I will definitely give you a permanent time for the rest of our lives, like for here through Christmas, so that you don't miss them. And I'll check in later in the week. See you guys later. It's time to go get poked. Bye, guys.